love you. You know I love you. I'll do whatever you say.
You sent so many effing Zoom invites. Like, I go to my email to click on one, and there's, why so many? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if we're on the right one. Where's Kit? Where's Adam?
I don't know.
Alexa, stop. Good music. Stop.
This is the correct one.
I'm calling Kit.
Hey, we're figuring it out, dude. We're technically challenged.
Figures. I mean, all you have to do is click on the fucking link.
Good link. Dude, tell me about it.
Oh, quit, you guys.
All right, I'll call you right back.
All right, can you hold on for fucking 1 second?
Has somebody not eaten today?
I have not.
I love that I knew that.
Yeah, God damn it. Adam. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Okay, hey girl. Oh my God. This is the test of a COVID marriage. Okay, hang on. COVID marriage.
Oh, Harry, is it too late?
No, it might have been my fault, actually.
No, I meant too late to get rid of.
Oh, no. It is, yes, it's definitely too late.
I think it's so far. Let's bring it up.
There it is.
Yay!
And look at those glasses. Damn.
Yes.
Look at that ponytail. She's getting lightning from South Korea, North Korea. We're getting
like this and send it to Harry. And Harry, you can plug it on like a.
No, Harry needs some on his head. I'm channeling my inner Elton John with these glasses. That's what I tell everybody.
I love him.
Very Elton when I wear them.
There we go.
So have y'all? I know that you're in Ann Arbor, Michigan, or somewhere around there. Do y'all have Zoom and internet up there yet?
No, seriously. I've been doing yoga on Zoom, all work things, Zoom all day.
I've had 3 Zoom meetings today, and I decided today, you know what, I'll let Kit do it. Ugh.
Oh.
I was more worried about the lighting, because here's the one thing you learn.
I was doing makeup.
About all of this is if you have windows all around you, then it's like, so you guys are smart. You both shut your shades.
I have a
Harry has like the lights like facing towards him.
Diva light, they call it.
My sister's desk is right next to her window, and so she looks like vibrant all the time, white teeth, it's like jammed breath. I'm like, what have you been doing? She's like, I'm just right by the window.
Now that works.
I'm right by the booze because.
No, she's like, dude, I was eyeballing that right now. Is that the bottle of wine? Look at that.
I'm by the bar.
Ours is right behind you. It's on the other side.
So I can grab it. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco.
Cheers.
Cinco de
Harry,
Solo.
come on.
Cinco de Solo. Cinco
What's
de
in that thing?
Lamo. Cinco de Succo. Cinco de Pacquiao. There's so many Cincos I can think of. And let's start with a little business. How about that? And
I'm gonna turn it up. Hang on. You're gonna get a boob shot real quick.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, there we go.
I always gets jealous. So, so Kit, Upper Michigan, how are y'all doing things any differently, or what's going on in Ann Arbor?
So just like the rest of the country, everything we've read, we shifted right away all of our reps around. So we channel sell, so we have a grocery team and then an on-premise and liquor store team. So right away, we kind of took the C stores and drugged the smaller accounts and scattered them about and basically have everybody helping each other. So our account base, we're about 2,400 accounts in 7 counties, half on premise. So the account base is pretty high. Yeah. So we have, yeah, half our accounts are on premise, but it only represents about 19% of our volume. So it was, you know, it wasn't a hit volume wise, but on the same note, it's so funny seeing the drivers come back at like 2 and 3 in the afternoon. I mean, they have 9 stops versus 22. So yeah, we did a lot of shifting people. Everybody was on board right away. Tons of masks, gloves. A lot of our craft suppliers pitched in with hand sanitizer. But our biggest void in our market is the airport. We cover Metro Detroit Airport, and so that's been obviously a ghost town and probably the biggest loss, I guess, if you will, in terms of an on-premise venue.
Right. Okay. And have you furloughed or laid anybody off, or you just, like you said, kind of repositioning people within the company?
So we right away said who has pre-existing conditions, who's taking care of somebody, kids at home, all of that stuff. Do you just have the heebie-jeebies? Are you just freaked out? Because we were one of the hot spots right away. And we actually got a call. What was it?
I said, yes, that's right. I am acknowledging.
And, you know, Rob Mitchell was nice enough to call us right away and say, hey, here's what's happening in New York. Make sure you do these few things. And his biggest warning was make sure it doesn't get in your warehouse. So we right away kept everybody, you know, suppliers, any outside visitors or vendors, we kept them out, limited contact. So everybody has been, you know, on the road. But so we did those first few, that group, and then anybody that performed a non-essential function for us, resets, special events, those things. We've done a mix and match of different things between letting people take vacation time. We did have a few layoffs that we've now brought people back to kind of ramp up and get ready. So
good. Okay. Well, and so, you know, Adam, you've been at, you know, 12 brewers in the last year and a half. And so
that took a long time, dude. I was waiting for that, the first intro.
I'm just teasing. No, like the Michigan brewers, you know, your latest, and which is closer to home. I imagine they've gotten their ass kicked a little bit too, right?
Yeah, we just recently acquired. I mean, literally February 20th. You can't make this story up, but February. My timing's usually impeccable. This one was miserable. So I was talking to Brett Joyce yesterday. I'm 5-1 right now in terms of timing and job changes. We acquired Dark Horse February 20th, and obviously the state of Michigan closed down on March 15th on the on-premise. So it's been a bit of a challenge. I mean, in order, you know, I think the smart thing that we did was stabilize cash flow, and we basically furloughed a lot of the company. We kept the brewery, obviously both breweries going. We kept our sales force intact for a little bit, and then eventually furloughed those guys down. We're pretty heavy. We got 2 tap rooms, you know, one at $3+ million, one $1.5 million. So you can imagine the volume that goes through those. But we've been able to stabilize through the chains. I mean, Michigan's a big chain state, so we've been fortunate. And I've been literally working like a one-man wrecking crew. I mean, just doing you know, Kroger paperwork, met with the Total Wine team, been writing business plans with wholesalers. We're actually looking to ratchet up some out-of-state business that we kind of, with Dark Horse, kind of let flail a little bit. So literally, I have not stopped. I mean, we've had to, like, you know, decrease our employee size, but me personally, I've just been on a mission to come out of this thing swinging.
Good. All right. Well, you know, I love you two guys. I've known both of you independently and together, and I love you all together. And, you know, one of the things I'm just curious about how you sequestered together. So, Kit, let's go to you first. Is there anything annoying, about Adam that maybe you didn't know before this 45-day, in sequester? I mean, what is it about him that, of course, there's adorable things, I'm sure.
So Adam does not play nice around the puzzle table. He's one that likes to like hawk on the puzzle and dominate all the fun sections and leaves you like the crappy like trees that all look the same to put together. So this
he's an edger guy.
I'm afraid.
Yeah. It's like dog,
I know, but no, actually, it's been entertaining. Adam is obviously the cook around our house, so we've had pretty interesting breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I don't think I've ever unloaded the dishwasher this much in my life. We've taken 1 million dog walks, planted gardens. I mean, I have to say it's kind of nice being home a little bit. I like being home, but I know I miss our fun beer life too, though. I miss, you guys seeing everybody. It's like, it's like time to see each other again. Yeah. So.
I mean, I interviewed Jim Cook earlier last week, and he was just like, it's the first time in 40 years. Mm-hmm. I haven't, flown. And, I didn't know what my wife looked like. I'm sure she'll be glad to hear that. But
yeah, being that we've all sat next to him and her at your conference. Yeah, I watched that interview too. I was dying. Typical classic Jim Cook.
I know. Well, they're both billionaires.
Yeah.
That's such a waste. Marry poor people.
I know.
I could have married her.
I know.
But I mean, and it is weird because we are used as in the beer industry to traveling a lot.
Yeah.
I like staying home. Melissa and I have sequestered apart because I was traveling right before. She's missing organs and shit. She was, whatever. She doesn't have a spleen. She doesn't have one of her lungs, and there's like half her liver was thrown in a tree.
I was in a very bad car accident a few years back, and I am immune compromised. Let me say that in the correct terminology. Like nobody can understand it. Like everybody's like, well, yeah, what? And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like I have not seen anyone. My own parents are both doctors. I don't know when I will ever see them again. And I'm really not saying that sarcastically. They're both on the front line, more so my mom. And like neither one of them are going to take off anytime soon. So, I mean, I really don't know when I'll see my parents again. So it's like, I have to stay away from everyone. So I don't,
But it's like, what do you do? I mean, sometimes I'm like, is it Tuesday? Is it Friday? Like it just kind of, every day is kind of, going along.
Yeah.
No, yes, you. She can't hear what the damn either.
What?
Yes, I can hear whatever. No, well, I feel that way. I mean, I'm literally wearing a bathing suit talking to y'all right now. So
I wish we now have a polar vortex to make it
40
worse.
degrees today in Michigan.
It's gonna snow this weekend, so
well, it's very hot in Texas already. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what day it is, and honestly, we're kind of working 7 days a week. Like I say the editors for sure. I'm just the one kind of in charge of keeping Harry in line so the editors are happy. So, I especially, I'm checking emails 7 days a week now and numerous times a day, because now I've even noticed some calls that we've had, it's like on Saturdays at like 3 o'clock, and they're like, hey, we want to do a Zoom with you. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Saturday, Harry. We can't do that. And he's like, do you even really know what today is? And I'm like, good point. So
Yeah, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's exactly.
the workload has definitely been more, or just more volume. I don't know. It just seems like more.
Definitely increased. I mean, because there's more news and there's more to talk about. And you know what's funny, guys? I mean, y'all can appreciate this. Like, you know, you guys are very social, and both of y'all, and before I knew you both independently, before you knew each other and even together, and you know me, I love an audience, right? I mean,
No, not you.
and so it's been hard, but one of the, I say, the good things about this is I have reached out to a lot more people that I didn't normally reach out to, just because I'm bored and I'm like, I wonder what this motherfucker is doing in you know, the panhandle of Texas, you know, that I haven't talked to. I'm sure you guys are the same way. It's just like, we can't, you know, Benj had to cancel his conference, which I feel bad for. I don't know the status of mine in January. Hopefully it'll work itself out, but we don't know at this point, honestly. So I've saved a lot on travel, I will say.
Yeah.
But you do miss something about seeing each other. And have you guys, like Adam, are you reaching out to people more, or how much time do you spend on Zoom?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, the two of us, yeah, I mean, I'm spending a ton of time on Zoom. I mean, all the platforms, I mean, Teams. I mean, what's been cool is everybody is accelerated video conferencing, right? And be getting together as fast as possible, which is, you know, sure, we had FaceTime and odds and ends, but to be able to actually have these meetings face to face. So, you know, I've spent a ton of time like talking to people, you know, business, catching up. The one interesting thing right now is because everybody is, like, at least on my end, talking to wholesalers, they're not like physically in their building, talking to their teams, people coming into offices. They're pretty regimented on their schedule, which has allowed me to schedule times with these guys and actually, you know, to plan and to do some of the things that maybe I was so low on the totem pole in terms of volume, I wouldn't have got access to some of the wholesalers I've been talking to. So between,
sorry to interrupt, but I mean, I want to continue, but that's interesting. That's an interesting kind of dynamic, right? Like, you wouldn't be able to get the principal. You would have, the sales manager below, area manager, but now you can carve out 20 minutes and talk online. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's 100%. Like, we're relaunching Minnesota with Dark Horse. We're going to launch with JJ Taylor. We had a previous relationship with them. I've done business with those guys forever. So I reached out to Jay Martin down in Florida. Hey, who should I reach out to in Minnesota? Immediately popped me in. Their team got together with me. We had a conference call, then immediately popped me into the Miller Coors network, met with 3 wholesalers there, this conference call and video call. And then again, following up, Jay and I worked on contracts. I mean, like, Jay's a busy guy, right? I mean, JJ Taylor. And you know, I've been able, again, 1,000 cases to those guys, but I've been able to work with Jay and his team up in Minnesota and the rest of the network where I think, you know, if I was trying to call or, you know, hey, we'll get back to you in 2 weeks or whatever it may be, but people have time now with, you know, video conferencing and phone calls because they're not people in and out of their offices or sales meeting or suppliers coming into the building. It's more of a regimented fashion. So yeah, I'm able to get a hold of a lot more people and a lot more principals and higher ups. And, you know, for the volume that Dark Horse and Roak represents to these guys, I probably shouldn't be talking to them at that level, but they're more than happy to talk business. And, you know, that French, just like what you're saying with you guys, our beer family and friendship blends, and you talk a little catch up, and then you talk a very quick business, you know, conversation, and then you move on. So I've really used this time to kind of catch up again with people, but also to be able to do business.
Well, listen, a truckload is a truckload. 1,000 cases is business. That's significant business, really.
Yeah.
Nowadays, especially. I mean, so that's great. That's good to hear. And I've experienced the same as well. Do you think I would have had an hour on the phone with Jim Cook? you know, no,
Yeah.
but bored as fuck. And, you know, he wanted to talk.
Yeah.
I had to get him off the phone, I think.
Harry was like,
Like,
okay, thanks for your time, Jim. And I called Harry the second we hung up. And I was like, Harry, he would have talked for like another 30 minutes. Like, what are you doing? So I'm on all of Harry's calls, the majority of them, mainly because I remember things. And so without him having to like rewind back the Zoom, I'm like, no, that's not what was said when he's writing something up. But secondly, you know, I get that, you know, you don't talk unless somebody asks you a question, right? And I'm like, yes, sir. Sir. And on that Jim could call, Jim would have kept talking and talking. And Harry's like, all right, yeah, okay, thanks, gotta go. I was like, he was like mid-sentence, like talking about his laundry, everything. I was here for it.
No, she has been great in that regard. Like, I just like having her, like this call, she's, you know, on video because the couple.
I'm allowed out of the closet.
It's a couple's call.
Yeah.
Just on the audio only, and like she's just taking notes, you know, helping me kind of.
Yeah.
When I go back, I want to listen to the whole thing. I can know what parts to write about. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We have a process that she helps.
Yes.
So, Kit, so you know you have a daughter at home, right? And how it's like, do you homeschool her, or what's going on there, or do you just kind of half-assing that?
So we have two kids, Ava and Jimmy. Ava's gonna be 17 and Jimmy will be 14. Yeah. And I'm completely like, Ava's my mom. So like she's in charge. She just actually did all Jimmy's course selections yesterday for high school. But you know, it's tough. I think it was actually one of the first stressful things for me when we had the shelter in place order put into effect. Because I'm like, okay, I'm kind of floating back and forth from work, knowing that other parents weren't having the same rules that we put in our house right away, which was, you know, just stay home, maybe go skateboard, just do little things outside, but you can't go see your friends. And a lot of their friends' parents weren't really that strict about it right away. So then I was like, you know, the meanie, then, you know, I had to stay home. And
listen, Millicent was the bad parent to me. Because I was like,
you
know,
stay home.
I'm good, I'm going out. And she's like, no, you know, you're going now you've restarted the clock for another 2 weeks. So you get late.
Yeah, like he doesn't get it. Like he'll be good. It'll be like 10 days. And I'm like, all right, like you can come over. And then he'll just, oh yeah, my son and I went to the ranch and did this and that. His son's 20 and goes and hangs out with a group of 30 people drinking. And they're like, oh, we're fine. And I'm like, we're not. Let's start those 14 days over.
Yeah, start it over.
Okay.
I FaceTimed Harry earlier and he was sitting at a freaking restaurant bar with his mask not on. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Hey, I like to support our local bars.
Oh.
Harry, you think COVID-19 is like a diet. You can be like, good for 14 days, then cheat, then good for 14 days, then cheat.
I'm trying to lose these forever.
Well, the COVID has not helped.
Yeah.
I will.
But you know, when it comes to like, so Ava's a junior this year in high school. And so now we're doing college tours online. She had to take the ACT or SAT test to get into college. Their grade is exempt. So it's just, and we live in a collegiate market. We saw all of our students go away right away, which was like, whoa, this thing's getting real. And that was kind of that showed the kids that, okay, that and the NBA were the first two clues that this was a serious deal. But yeah, so like, you know, even looking into the fall, that's one of my biggest worries. Are they going to go back to school? You know, I mean, I don't think we could run the dishwasher, like I said, anymore. The kids are just like, you know, they're
It's a continuous cycle. Just
yeah. I know.
I'm almost kind of. Listen, it sucks being away from Millicent. Trust me. But I think it's probably best for our relationship that we were apart during these 45, 50 days. I think I would have driven her freaking crazy, and she and I might have, you know, had an issue. We decided early on, and now, you know what? It makes the heart and other things grow fonder, if you know what I
was
mean.
going to say what?
Let me clarify. We have not seen each other high-fived or whatever since March 15th, but don't get it twisted. He FaceTimes me, texts me, and calls me 427 times a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I think you're underestimating.
Yeah.
I don't know what I did with my keys.
So those calls.
I'm like, yeah. So it not much has changed.
Yeah.
So you guys have a wedding right around the corner. Are you going to maintain 2 houses, or do you think that?
okay, so Kit, that's a great question. First of all, we postponed our wedding because we don't think we're gonna be ready to, you know, mingle and let it. You know.
That was the $25,000 risk we took, because it was like, if you proceed and things continue this way, you're still gonna have to pay $25,000. If you don't, by this date, you can get out with just paying a few thousand. Like, it was a whole thing. And I was like, I'm not going to say the name of it because I don't even know where Harry's publishing this, and I don't want to get myself in some kind of trouble. But this hotel venue, like, I was very disappointed because I was like, this is a national crisis. Like, you cannot be charging people $25,000 for canceling their wedding when you can't even go to the store to try on a dress. You know, like that's a whole issue that's like very frustrating and upsetting. So that has been postponed, and we honestly don't even talk about it because it really is depressing. Like, it's
25,000 is like Harry's bar bill for the month of May. I mean, like, what is that? I mean, pshaw, like, yeah.
That's what I tried to tell her, but whatever. I never wanted to get married in the first place. I live with her, you know.
We could renew our vows, and you guys could like come like walk with us, and we could all have like just a big party.
I'm having it at the Hotel del Coronado where you got married. So,
Yeah, in January.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can have it. But yeah, it's going to save everybody from getting married.
I really am.
Think of how many divorces are going to be prevented from these.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
Just live together for, you know, a few years and see what
Divorce lawyers are like shitting themselves.
I look at the I think this is going to be a good thing. One thing is I might get married to my dog. I've never spent so much with her. She just is attached at the hip. We have not spent more than 30 seconds apart. And I know
I follow you on Instagram.
Terrier. What's your Posted Terrier's name?
Harry.
Harry?
You want to see him? Here, we can show you. Harry.
I thought his name was Harry. I do.
Oh, here, we'll show you your. Of course, we named him after you.
He looks just like you.
There we go.
Oh, Harry. Harry.
Get one more pair for the top of the head.
Oh, I know. What do you know what? I think we should have Lesta do a little like project on in 21 years what the 21 population will look like and what he expects consumption will look like.
Yes, I think so.
Because there's going to be a lot of new consumers.
Yeah.
I know what it's going to look like because that's all I hang out with.
Well, I have noticed, like, just on my street, the recycling bins, like how much more filled they are. And when you really look at them, the number one thing you see is Amazon boxes. And then the next that fall in line are beer packaging. I mean, that's like, I see the Amazon boxes.
White Claw. I was gonna say it's White Claw. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what you see. And all my neighbors are probably average 60, 65 is probably their age. I'm definitely the youngest one. All retired.
Where do you live? I know.
At least, hey.
And they're like, hey, what are you doing? I like the way you paint your house. You know?
I live in like an older, I do technically live like in the Jewish community. So it's like a little bit upper more than it is lower. But pretty much all of my neighbors are retired. I'm definitely the youngest person that I've seen. And I bought this house February 26th, I think was the day I closed. So I've been here, I don't know, I moved in right when this started. So I've just been in my house, like it sucks, but all the people that walk by, I like that you painted your house blue. It's better than everything else. And I'm like,
oh, honey. Oh my God.
You guys, listen, Adam, Kit, you both of you are very good looking. America wants to hear from you. Everybody in the community. You come from a distributor and a supplier background, which is very unusual. You're still young, Kit.
Yeah.
And thank you for being on this. And I'll edit some parts out that. But I have to say, you guys have been such good friends to me, and I appreciate your friendship. And listen, I look forward also to the day that we can still go out and travel and get out into Beer America and have a beer together. And I think that, the next year we'll be able to do that, right? Hopefully. What do you think?
Please, sooner than later. We feel the same about you guys too. I mean, it's just, this is fucking brutal.
Yeah. And especially brutal for Kit. I mean, butterfly that just goes around. I've seen her work a room, buddy. She worked a room of news. Mills is good at that too.
Oh my gosh. I know. Like they can't keep us out of Vegas. Come on.
Right, yeah.
Write it down. We gotta get back there. Like
we're working on an article about the Vegas distributors. It's hard to get them to call us back, obviously. They're like, we don't want to talk about it. But it's I mean, they're 90% down on dog. Can you imagine? But anyway, hopefully they'll survive. But thanks, guys. And I'll let you know before this goes to, we're just going to put it at the bottom of the newsletter and link to it and say, hey, kind of like we did with Bud and Sarah Dunn.
oh my gosh. Yeah. Did you tell Millie what happened with that whole thing?
No.
Did he tell you the story? So I was like laying in bed, of course, reading Beer Business Daily. Get down to the bottom, and I'm like, oh, Sarah and Bud Dunn, they, live in Michigan, we're friends. I'm like, click the link, watch I'm like, oh, it's a podcast like this, and I can't hear it. And I'm like, turn it up. And my phone was Bluetooth to a speaker downstairs. We were at our other house this weekend. It was Bluetooth downstairs. So I'm like, what's going on? I can't hear it. And I start hearing this echo of Harry's voice all through the house. And I heard Adam start to race around the house looking for a man that broke into the house. He was like, what's going I'm like, oh, just Harry interviewing.
I knew Harry would break in here and try to get at my wife.
I know.
He's like,
Here's the worst part. I was in the bathroom, hear this going on. Jump out, run around the house. I go down to the basement. I'm looking, who's in the house?
Yeah.
And then I come up, I go, did you hear? Who was calling who? What just happened? She's like, oh, sorry, I had it on Bluetooth. It was Harry.
Yeah.
Fucking Harry. God damn it.
Couldn't hurt a fly.
It's so funny. I know.
dude,
So
typical.
That is a-
When you're not there, you get me.
oh, guys. All right, guys.
Well, thanks for
All right,
inviting
love you
us.
guys.
This was fun.
Yeah, miss you guys.
It's good to see y'all.
Take care,
Hope to
guys.
see you soon.
Yeah, let's do it offline next time.
All right. All right.